I hate when politicians cry in public, because if I went to the hospital and I was in critical condition and I see the doctor crying instead of attending to me, that doctor is a bad doctor. So if you want to be an emotional support animal, being a doctor is not a job for you. Your job is maybe be a therapist or, a pastor or something like that. The same way, if you're a politician and an incident saddens you, cry in the bathroom, come and do your job. Your job is to solve the problem, not shed tears. Sad day for Mother Ghana. 6 young women who were on their way to dedicate their lives to Mother Ghana, to serve as soldiers to defend our country, lost their lives at El-Wak Stadium during the recruitment. So the Ghana Armed Forces was holding a recruitment event to take, the physicals of people who had applied to join the Ghana Armed Forces. And a stampede happened. And unfortunately, 6 people, all of who are women, lost their lives, and tens of people also hospitalized from the event or from the incident. Some I learned are in critical condition. May the soul of the departed rest in peace, and may those who are seeking medical treatment get speedy recovery. My condolences to their families, to the entire country, and to the entire world for losing 6 people. But I'm recording this video to talk about the fact that, anyway, before I do that, my name is Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, usually I talk about geopolitics, but this is important. Anytime a tragedy happens in Ghana, as a Ghanaian, I'm saddened by the tragedy, but 9 times out of 10, the aftermath of the tragedy even saddens me more. 8 times out of 10, it's usually politicians who make the tragedy worse by taking attention from the mourning to make the tragedy about them. They find a way to engage in rounds of political theatrics, forgetting that there are real people involved in this incident. Case in point, Honorable Dominic Nitiwul, the former defense minister of Ghana, and Honorable Laadi Ayamba, NDC MP for Pusiga. They invoked the name of God to say the most deplorable thing a person can say at this point. Let me say this, and this will become controversial, but I don't care. I hate when politicians do 2 things. I hate when politicians cry in public, because if I went to the hospital and I was in critical condition and I see the doctor crying instead of attending to me, that doctor is a bad doctor. So if you want to be an emotional support animal, being a doctor is not a job for you. Your job is maybe be a therapist or, a pastor or something like that. The same way, if you're a politician and an incident saddens you, cry in the bathroom, come and do your job. Your job is to solve the problem, not shed tears. That is why I hate to see politicians crying in public. And 2, I hate when politicians invoke the name of God. I'm a Christian. This is my Bible. I read my Bible every single day. I'm a Pentecostal. I pray in tongues 30 minutes every day except Sundays, because I go to church on Sundays to pray. Sometimes on Saturdays because I play soccer in the morning. But let me say, I pray in tongues 30 minutes every weekday. And I'll say this, I'm a big believer in separation of God and state. Because the way politicians invoke the name of God is very disrespectful both to God and to me who believes in God. I would read something from the Bible to explain something to you. Let me read Luke chapter 13, verse 1 to 4. Jesus said, it was in Luke chapter 13, verse 1, goes like, there were present in that season some who told Jesus, about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. And Jesus answered and said to them, do you suppose these Galileans were worse sinners than all other Galileans because they suffered such things? I tell you no. But unless you repent, you will likewise perish. Or those 18 on whom the towers in Siloam fell and killed them, do you think they were worse sinners than all other men who dwell in Jerusalem? Sidebar. Jesus Christ was told about an incident where people in Galilee lost their lives because they were killed by Pilate and their blood was tragically mixed with their sacrifice. And another tragedy where 18 people lost their lives in a tower that broke on them. And Jesus was saying that these people, what happened to them didn't happen to them because they are worse sinners than you. Jesus showed was empathy to the people who lost their lives. Empathy. Jesus didn't make that about himself. Jesus could have said, yo, me, when I die, I'll come back to life. And we know Jesus could have come back to life when he dies. These people are weak. That's why they died. They are not strong like me. Honorable Dominic Nitiwul invoked the name of God in the most deplorable way possible. He said he thanked God that when he was the defense minister, people didn't lose their lives during military recruitment. I just read from the Bible that when Jesus Christ was told about people losing their life in an accident, the first thing Jesus Christ said was defend the honor of the people who lost their lives. That's the first thing Jesus did. Honorable Dominic Nitiwul did the opposite. He made it about himself. He said, yeah. When I was the finance minister, I was so good that nobody lost their lives under me. And I'll tell you something. Honorable Dominic Nitiwul was a defense minister in Ghana. I'm sorry I keep saying finance because the finance minister of Ghana is also currently the acting defense minister. So my mind keeps jamming the two. I'm sorry. Dominic Nitiwul was the defense minister in Ghana from January 2017 to January 2025. In May 2017, Major Maxwell Mahama was lynched. A soldier was lynched at a Galamsey site. If somebody has said, or the defense minister before Dominic Nitiwul said, God was gracious to them, that is why that didn't happen under their watch, how would Honorable Dominic Nitiwul feel about that? Honorable Dominic Nitiwul was the defense minister for 8 years. Galamsey was his policy that he said that he was teaming up with the Ministry of Lands and Mines to deal with youth soldiers to solve Galamsey. So it was directly his policy that led to the death of Major Maxwell Mahama. You get the point I'm making? So if we want to go into the books and look at incidents of tragedies that have happened in Ghana and link them directly to the minister responsible for that ministry that tragedy happened under, every single minister in Ghana will be found guilty because tragedies happen. What shouldn't happen is insensitive foolishness. Forget about being wise. Forget about being an educated person as Honorable Dominic Nitiwul is. In Ghanaian culture, when I was in school, when I was maybe 12 years old, I took a class we all took in Ghana called Ghanaian Language and Culture. One of the first things they teach you about funeral rites in Ghana is how to report the demise of someone. You don't go to their house in tears. We're taught that in school again. You sit with them. If they offer you food, you eat the food. You have a pleasant conversation with them to calm them down before when they ask you, "Kwan suwe?" or "What brings you here?" Dude, find the best euphemisms to explain to them that, well, your family member lost their life. We were taught this as Ghanaian culture, and then we were taught all the euphemisms you can use to break news of a person to a family member. We're taught that they kick the bucket, they kick the salt. So many, he was left behind the door, Akampunechi. We're taught so many things. So we know that conversation about somebody losing their lives in Ghana, culture is supposed to be treated with respect. You understand? So Honorable Dominic Nitiwul's statement he made is foolish, uneducated, is insulting to our culture, and disrespectful to the entire Ghana. He needs to apologize for making that statement, especially when tragedies that involve the losing of people's lives, Major Maxwell Mahama, happened when you were the defense minister. I'm sorry that I sound this way. Now let's come to Honorable Ayamba, an NDC woman. I talked about the MPP man and I'm talking about the NDC woman so that you know that I don't do politics on this channel. I do policy. Those are two different things. That's why sometimes you come on this channel, if you've watched my channel before, you come on this channel, sometimes you see me praising Mahama, sometimes you see me criticizing Mahama because I don't care about Mahama. I don't care about NDC. I care about the policy that is enacted in my name as a Ghanaian. Mahama, anytime he speaks for me as a Ghanaian. Anytime he enacts a policy, he's enacting it for me as a Ghanaian taxpayer. So, yeah. Honorable Ayamba said whatever happened was the will of God. It was the will of God for people to lose their lives the way they did. My mom is a Muslim, and I know some parts of the Old Testament is in the Quran, right? So I don't know for sure, but I believe the story of the king who a prophet told was going to lose their life, and then they prayed to God, and God added 15 years to their lives, and they lived for 15 more years. It's in the Quran as well, right? So what do you mean by the will of God? All religious texts let us know that the will of God can be amended. Yeah, you can amend the will of God. You can amend the will of God. So when you said it's the will of God, so nothing can be done about it, what do you mean? You are showing a lack of understanding of your religious text, one, and two, you are being insensitive in the moment. Again, culture. You don't speak like this in the heat of a tragedy like this. Say nothing could have been done about it. Look at every military in the world. The way the recruitment happens in Ghana, is that the way it happens in every military in the world? If there is a standard way of doing military recruitment, and Ghana is doing what's the name? Global best practice in military recruitment, and this happened, then you can say nothing has been done about it. We have chosen a specific type of military recruitment. WASI WAEC since 2008 allows you to check your results online. So being in a queue is not something that you have to do in 2025. The only reason we do it is because we want to do it. So think about it this way. In order to come for the recruitment, physicals at El-Wak Stadium, you have to fill a form. And so they have your information before you show up. What will happen if we had a system where we decide that, you know what, we are going to do this in badges. First, 500 people, you pull up, and we do that for you on Monday morning for 6 hours. Take a break for 2 hours. A second batch come Monday afternoon, 500 people. I'm just using 500. That's even a big number, but I'm just using 500. My point is, there are so many ways to do recruitment. You chose to do this. Something could have been done about it. There is no such thing like will of God, so nothing could have done about it. Will of God works intercession with free will. You understand what I'm saying? I respect the will of God. I believe in the will of God. I pray in tongues every morning. I just said this. God blesses me every day. There are things that, I have learned not to say to people. You don't say things like that to people because it's insensitive. It is your role as a religious person. These two people are claiming to be religious. That's why I'm using that. If I was talking to my friend Zoba, who is an atheist, I will not invoke the Bible. I'll not invoke the Quran. I'll use different things because the principle is the same. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. The principle is you have to learn how to be sensitive to the plight of people. You have to learn how to be respectful to the emotions of people. Feelings matter. So many wars have been fought in the world because of feelings. So it is always important to care. Care. That's why I hate when I see politicians crying on TV. That is not how you show care as a politician. How you show care is doing your job. That is how you show care. Caring as a mother is different from caring as a father, which is different from caring as a friend. So caring as a leader is different from caring as a, friend or family member. The way you show care as a leader is so sensitivity. They always talk about we the youth not respecting our culture, not knowing our culture. If we were raised in homes and in countries where our leaders respected our culture, do you think the youth would disrespect our culture? Socialization. We live life based on how we're socialized. So we have leaders who don't respect our culture. That is why we have youth who don't respect our culture. I don't think that the youth don't respect our culture, but for shits and giggles, let's say the youth don't respect our culture. How do you expect the youth to respect your culture when you, the person holding positions in this country, don't respect our culture? It is our culture to be sensitive in the time of passing. The food you eat when somebody loses their life is part of Ghanaian culture. We have a whole cultural system in every single tribe. I went to school in Boga, Kumase, and I'm a Dangbe. So I know that 3 different tribes have cultural rights when it comes to funerals and people losing their lives. My point is, we are losing our culture. And it's not the youth who is losing this culture. It's our leaders. It's Honorable Dominic Nitiwul. It's Honorable Laadi Ayamba. It's people like this who have little regard for our culture who are killing Ghanaian culture. Thank you for watching. Normally, I'll usually say subscribe. No, that's not what I want to do here. I just wanted to vent. I'll probably will talk about this issue at another point and have a more intellectual position on issues, where we identify what the problem is and what the solution should be. That's what I do on this channel. I usually want to identify the problem and the solution. Right now, I just wanted to vent because I'm sad. Thank you for watching.